The iOS 26 public beta is here, and I'm going to go through all the newest updates and things that will make you happier and more productive, all cool newest features that I've seen so far. So let's get into it. Liquid glass is the very first redesign. So as you can see here, as I try to swipe through certain animations, the look and feel of the entire operating system is going to be different. I'm obsessed with the new liquid glass. I just can't believe how they're able to make this happen. It just feels like you're touching something out of this world. That's what it looks like in fitness on the bottom menus, and then inside of like Apple Notes. I use Apple Notes for everything. As you can see, the notes fills up the entire screen. I can see the text a little bit behind the liquid glass. You can even kind of read it right there. As I scroll through, it feels like that text is moving through glass. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this new operating system. So visually, it's going to look drastically different. There's going to be a whole bunch of changes, and it's just going to feel like a refresh, which I'm always excited when there's something new, something different, and I'm excited to see how everyone else thinks when they start playing with it. Next is the lock screen. Now you actually can change the length of your time. So if you have a wallpaper that supports it or just looks nice with it, like a big sky, you can extend the time from the sky. You have a bigger ability to customize, which I think and love. Like, look at that. I can pick the distance of time that I want. I think that probably looks best right above the tower. You can use spatial scenes from your photos. And now there's animated album art when you're playing music. Now, one massive redesign is the camera app. So even the icon is now different. Once you open up the camera app, you're going to see how different it is. This is the video, and this is the photo option. And we have the new liquid glass design where I can switch between spatial, pano, cinematic, slow-mo. So those are kind of folded in so it doesn't look too complex on the bottom. And I just have video and photo that I can switch between, but if I want the other ones, I can easily pan between them. And once you go to a certain format like video, to be able to change the resolution, the frame rates, you can tap right here and be able to change all of that from log, HDR, 1080p HD to 4K, different frame rates that you want, and then be able to turn on the flash. You can always do it on the top right, but you can also pan up to be able to change the flash settings right here as well. The exposure, flash on and off, action mode on and off. So being able to easily do that for photos, for example, I want to be able to change some settings. Boom, I pop it up. We can instantly add the timer. I like this a lot more because I'm able to access things like the timer much easier. Before it was, you had to tap and there was a couple more taps to get to it. The icons were a bit small, but now everything's more accessible, easier to read, and easier to see when you want to change settings. So we're actually going to turn off the flash. That's one of the biggest life sins, is leaving your flash on. One thing I do love about the new settings feature is I love taking high quality photos. So I can easily switch to RAW as needed or HEIC. And then because I love taking 24 and 48 megapixel photos, I can go ahead and switch that to 48 megapixels right here. I don't have to worry about changing it in the setting. Photos app now has a massive redesign. I know a lot of people hated it when you used to scroll to the very bottom. Then you would have all your collections and everything like that. But now that's been switched to a secondary spot. So it's on the bottom right. I can tap collections and be able to see that information here. So all my photos are now in one place. You can easily filter. I can filter by type of content. I can view different options, whether I want to see screenshots or not screenshots, things that were shared with me, change the ordering of the photos. So the Photos app is going back to how it used to be in some ways. I know a lot of people were like, are they going to fix the Photos app? Is it going to go back to how it used to be? And I think this is the best update because now you're going to get the features that you liked and loved about the Photos app previously, and we still get to maintain the collections and the organization and the automation that I love to see in the Photos app. Like you can go ahead and, for example, and start to close any kind of featured photos, album, all these sections if you don't want to see them. You can expand them all if you'd like to. Seeing if your photos are updated to iCloud is all up here. And we have the Apple Intelligence features where you can make memories just by tapping what you want to see inside of the Photos app there. Another big update to Photos is you can actually view the event details in the photo. So if I go ahead and swipe up right here, it's going to show Cascade concert ticket right there. I can go ahead and tap that. And now it shows Apple Music, like open Cascade right here. I can open Cascade in Apple Music. I can go ahead and see when this event was, October 20th, 2023. Avant Gardner at the Brooklyn Mirage, rest in peace. The top songs from Cascade, any other upcoming events that are showing up. I can use Shazam to recognize more music. This works for artists, sports, and many more. So I'm excited to see all the new intelligence feature inside of the Photos app. Next up is the update to Safari. There's actually an entirely new tab design. As you can see, there's liquid glass on the bottom. So as I go over this add bag page, you can see that text shows at the bottom. It just feels so nice. I don't even know what to say. And as I scroll through the page, that tab bar gets extremely small where I'm able to browse the page using the entire screen of the iPhone. I think this is one of my favorite updates. And then once I need to switch tabs, I can just swipe up from that tab section and be able to go to my other tabs right here. Or I can swipe left and right as well. If I need to share something, you have your triple dots, your back page, all that information. But Safari becomes a full immersed experience where None of the menus, none of the tabs are in the way. You're just on the website. You don't have to worry about anything else. And when you need to, that can always expand and pop up. I gotta argue, Liquid Glass on Safari is probably one of my favorite updates. FaceTime is another update. There's gonna be a new landing page where it shows suggested people as well as previous calls that you've had, and you can tap on them and see more information about each one. All I have are essentially missed calls. But now I can be able to filter by calls, missed, video, voicemail, spam. I can manage filtering. And there's easy ways to reduce distraction from unknown calls. So actually, we're going to turn that on because that looks really nice. To be able to do new calls, I can go ahead and type FaceTime. It can be a phone call, a FaceTime, or I can copy a FaceTime link if they are on Android. Next up are some visual intelligence features. So let's say I'm trying to go to an event where maybe I can't add the event easily to my calendar, but I live and breathe by my calendar. If I need to go to something, it has to be on my calendar or else I forget. So let's say I'm in this third-party app. There's no easy way to add to calendar, so I can take a screenshot. It's going to capture a screenshot, and I can use Apple Intelligence right here to squiggle right over it. It's going to figure out those details. So it's got the location, it's tagging that, and then I should be able to add to my calendar. Boom, there it is, add to calendar. It's going to create the event based on the time, 7:30 p.m. Boom. The date, August 5th. Boom. The location, Vital Climbing Gym. Boom. The title, 1-year anniversary. Done. And now I can just create the event, add it to my calendar, and I know that I'm not going to miss that. So that is really cool. You can do this from like social media screenshots, from things that you see that you take photos of. Super easy to convert images to a calendar event invites and more. It's not just this, but you can also search certain things. So if I want to actually squiggle this little man right here, I can now search that image on Google if I want to see where it's from, where I might find similar logos. If I find someone whose shoes I like, they can take a photo and then use Apple Intelligence and Google image search to find out where those shoes might be from. Next is a live translation. I tested this and I'm in love with this. You can do this in iMessage, FaceTime video, and phone calls. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on the iMessages. Zach, who helps film my videos, speaks Mandarin, and we decided to test out the Mandarin feature. So as I type, you can see it's showing the Mandarin on the top. Maybe we go and get sweet green. So this is happening live. It's translating it for me. It's showing me what the Mandarin will look like, and then I'm typing in English, and it shows right here translating Chinese. I can also change the English only. You have a couple languages that you can pick for the conversation. So now once I send this, I get to see both the English and the Mandarin. We've kind of had this conversation right here back and forth, and he's typing in Mandarin and I'm getting an English translation from what he typed. The original is on the top, and then my original is on the bottom over here, and what my iOS is sending him is on the top. So if he has RCS or he's not updated to iOS 26, he's still going to get the Mandarin translation, so we can easily communicate with each other. iOS 26 on the left, iOS 18 on the right. So because he does not have the translation feature, he can type in Mandarin right here. I don't even know what this says, but we're going to send it. But he's only getting the translation. So right here in Mandarin, it says translation, : and then it has the actual message. So if I send this, you'll see, boom, I want to eat pizza. That was auto-created, and I'm going to see his original message plus the translation. But as I type, he's only going to get the translation. So I'll type in hello, and you can see that that's the hello, and the text before the double dots just says translation. So it notifies him that it was translated. And this works for multiple languages, so I can do Spanish. We've got the Spanish example here. German, I can go ahead and press and hold. If I'm like, hey, let's translate, I can translate that specific thing. But if I want to stop the translation, I'll tap right here. It's going to say stop translation. And now any message I send will send in English, hello, and the translation will stop. But if I want to start translating, you press and hold on any text. You say translate. You can say translate this message or translate the conversation. I have the list of languages that are currently supported right here. So I've downloaded all of them except for Italian, Korean, and Portuguese. And then go ahead and switch. Maybe we want French. And now as I type hello, how are you? It's going to translate my English into French and send the French to that person. Now, out of curiosity, let's see how good Zach's Mandarin is. So we're going to go ahead and FaceTime him here. Wait, now we are on FaceTime with Zach. So I'm going to tap the triple dots here. I have live captions on because I'm just always not paying attention. It's easier to read sometimes. But we're going to turn on live translation. So we're going to say from... Oh, can you speak French? Okay, so now we're going to have... We have French as the languages. So we're going to say from French to English. So I'm going to tap start translation. And now as Zach, who I thought was going to speak Mandarin, is not supported on FaceTime, but he can speak French. So you ready? How are you, Zach? So now I can see what he's saying from French to English, and then I can just tell it to stop. But that makes it easy to communicate with someone on FaceTime if I don't speak the same language as them. So now I'm calling Zach, and we're going to try the audio translation on phone. So anyone I call, it doesn't need to be an iPhone, but I'm going to go ahead and tap live translation from I get to pick the languages. We are going to try Spanish. Are you good at Spanish? So we'll tap start translation, and now as he types and talks, as he talks, I'll be able to see his Spanish words in English. Yes, I am good. How are you?
Where do you want to be to that?
Same thing.
Outside store. 3 costs to the...
Are you okay? Don't make a sound.
No haga ruido.
So as you can see right there, it's going to not only translate via text so I can read what he's saying, and it's also going to translate my voice and say it in Spanish so that way he can understand what I'm saying. This works on all devices that support Apple Intelligence. And honestly, I want to test this when I travel. Like if I need to call somebody, a hotel, and maybe they don't speak the language, I'm able to communicate with them. There's not a lot of supported languages yet, but if we can do every language in the world, that'd be insane. You can travel anywhere, make phone calls, and be able to communicate and not have to worry about the language barrier. And you don't have to pull out like a translate app, so that's gonna be huge. Next is the phone app is actually going to be updated. You'll have that same liquid glass design. The keypad is on the right, the call is here. It's gonna be organized slightly differently. I mean, you can also set up filtering now, so you can remove distractions from unknown callers. We're gonna turn that on. It's gonna be in an entirely different section, so I can go into spam. These are all of the random unknown callers that I got that might be spam. And it's like, okay, actually this one might be known, I think. Let's mark as known. Oops, nope. So like this, I think is spam. So we're gonna now report that as spam and delete. I don't want that voicemail. But this is gonna organize my calls in a way where I no longer see those spam calls on the list anymore. Now it's clean, it's pristine, it's only my close friends. Also inside of settings, if I scroll down to apps, I go ahead and go to phone, and then I go ahead and scroll down. I'll be able to turn on detect call waiting. So if the call goes on hold, and now we're gonna go to hold assist. Holding call, you'll be notified to pick up the call. You'll be notified to pick up the call. Cool. It's actually gonna notify me. It's gonna kind of pause it so that way I don't have to worry about it and then notify me when hold is over. Okay, so now it's ringing. Pick up.
You're speaking with Shervin.
This has been a game changer because I had to call my health insurance. I'm on hold and I don't want to deal with it. So then, boom, the phone notifies me and I can get right back on. Super simple and easy. Next is the screen unknown callers. So I just recently turned this on where it's going to ask the reason for calling. If I don't know that person, I haven't marked them as known. They're not saved in my contacts. Boom, it's going to be like, hey, who are you? What's your reason for calling? And on the phone home screen, it's going to show their reasoning. And then I can go ahead and say, do I want to answer this call in the moment or not?
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
Hi, my name is Shervin. I'm calling about the report that we had about a YouTuber being super famous, and we need to make sure and confirm that they are super famous. Can you do that for me?
Thanks, Shervin. Please stay on the line. They said, I'll call you later. You can leave a message after the tone.
Hi, this is Shervin. I'm leaving a message now. It is a voicemail, but this is one of the weird thing here is there's nothing happening and the voice is just like cut out.
They said, yes, I want to see if you'll follow at Shervin Shares. You can leave a message after the tone.
No, I'm here. So that's kind of interesting because there's a big pause when I'm typing something. There's just like silence. So like the other caller might be like, what's going on? Is it working? Did they get my message? So as I'm trying to type what I want to say, those auto replies are going to be much faster, but the call screening is valuable for the person who's getting called. The person who's doing the calling, it's like, it might be a little frustrating. I can see that. So let's see how this actually impacts the real world when it's implemented on a broad scale. I think there's gonna be a ton of use cases. We're gonna see people use this, and people are either going to get really mad or really happy about those experiences. I think that's going to be huge because I do block a lot of numbers that I think are spam, but sometimes they aren't. Like it's like health insurance calling, it's an Uber driver calling, it's DoorDash calling, and you might need to be able to answer that call. So having call screening forces them to say, hey, I'm DoorDash, I'm Uber. Then it doesn't fully get blocked from the spam filter, but now I get to be like, oh, this is actually important, I need to pick it up. Boom, pick that phone call up really quickly. But then if it is spam, I can just be like, let's ignore that. Or if it's one of those robots. There's so many robot phone calls. I love that Apple is building technology to help defeat this because this is such a pain in my... Next up, we got some upgrades to messages. So group chats now have the ability to do Apple Cash. So I recently joined an iOS 26 group chat and I requested $1,000 from everyone. They still haven't paid me. But that's one big update. Now you can do Apple Cash by sending money or requesting money. Let's say everyone split a bill and you want to request $1,000 from everyone because you're splitting the bill. You can do that inside the group chat rather than going one by one. I use this a lot when we go out to eat. I don't use Venmo. I just like Apple Cash. It's easier. It's built in. And being able to just do this in a group chat, so much easier. If I'm trying to send money to one person, and it lets me pick the person that I actually want to send money to, because I'm not going to send $8 to every single person in the group chat. So I can send it to that one person. Let's say they're the one who paid, and then everyone in the group chat sees that I paid. Second is the background. So I actually took this photo. Looks pretty cool. I can create backgrounds. You can actually update the background images. So I picked the photo from my library. You can also create images. You can use pre-created images. You can use image playground. A ton of options to change photos there. We can now do polls. So this is a big one. I went ahead and created a poll right here at the top. I was like, what's your favorite device? Is it iPhone, Samsung, or Google Pixel? And everyone voted. What's interesting is you can actually vote for all of them, and then you can take away your votes. But this is a great way. We used to use polls with some of my friends to figure out what we want to do. And now being able to just do this easily in the iOS Messages app without having to download another app makes it seamless. We're like, hey, we want to go eat sushi, pizza, or, I don't know, poke bowls. Everyone vote. Boom. Decided, let's go do that activity. It makes it that much easier. These little things that might seem simple make it that much easier in life of like, I can communicate with my friends, figure out plans. Another big but crazy update that I actually really like is I can select a part of a message. I press and hold, I tap select. Let's say someone sends me their email or an address and I only want their email. I can now just select a part of the message rather than selecting the entire message, because sometimes I'm like, copy the entire message, but I just want the phone number or the email or the address or a specific password that they sent. So now I can just copy, boom, something, and I can move on with my day, rather than having to paste that into Notes or a web browser and then select it and then copy again. So these little things that save you time. Group chats will also get typing indicators. Next is Apple Maps. Remember the places that you go to so that you can share it with friends. And Apple Maps now supports visited places. It's currently in beta, but I recently went to a restaurant called Din Tai Fung. Amazing, loved it. And maybe I didn't remember the name and I want to share it with friends, but now it's going to save those places. So it shows Din Tai Fung that I went for dining. Urbana Cafe, was I there? Yes, I was. And I can be like, oh, I love that place. Let's share this or add to places. Save it. I can be like, hey, Zach, boom. Amazing restaurant. Let's go eat there tonight. Sends it over. I can see all the leisure activities. I have a list of leisure things that I've done. It looks like the gym, transport, whether it's the bus, the train. So now it's saving all these locally, securely, and if I ever want to remove them, I can easily go ahead and tap and say, remove this place so it's not there anymore, and I can turn this off so you don't have to worry about all this information being saved. I honestly love knowing all the places I've been. I forget, but being able to use this, game changer. Next up is Apple Music. There's some upgrades to the lyrics where if you're listening to a song in a different language, it's actually going to show you the translation. So Bailando, I love this song actually, and it'll show me the English translation at the bottom. Obviously, just like iMessage and phone call and FaceTime translations, there's only some supported languages. As someone who speaks Farsi, you know, I'd love to see the Farsi translations in Ed Sheeran's Azizam, but we don't have that yet, maybe one day. So I'm hoping that language translation list is going to expand as time goes on. Next up is Wallet. So some states support a digital ID where you can use this digital ID card for age and name verification online in apps and even in stores, even at TSA if you're trying to travel. So only at supported airports. But soon we're going to be able to also put in our US passport as the same verification for age, identity in apps, online, and in stores. I hope we get to the point where you can use our passport as a digital passport in our phone, but you know, baby steps. There are also some upgrades to boarding passes, which I'll show in my travel videos. If you've ever seen those, subscribe, turn notifications to see that. There's updates to order tracking as well as paying with rewards in a store. Then there were some features that Apple didn't widely yell up, which I think are actually very fascinating and helpful. Like I said, I'm a big Apple Notes user, but being able to export my Apple Notes is not as easy. But now you can go ahead and tap export here, and it says export as Markdown. So I can export my Apple Notes as Markdown to be able to back it up, to have it in a different place. I can go ahead and airdrop this to my computer. I think having the ability to easily export my notes is going to be huge. I can put it in other apps. I can have backups of it if I need it in an archival place. So being able to get the information out of the Notes app in an easy way, I love that. Clock. You can now snooze your alarm. You can change the snooze time. I think it's around 5 minutes, but you can pick your snooze to be 1 to 15 minutes for that specific alarm that you have. So maybe you like sleeping in and you're like, I want my snooze to be as short or as long as possible. There's a new feature for charging. So if I go ahead and plug in this charger right here, my battery just dies so fast. I'm an extreme power user. We always get that charging notification. But at the top, you'll be able to see on the lock screen, maybe we need to lock it, 45% charged, and it's going to show me how much time it's going to take to hit 80%. Boom, there it is, 45% charge, 41 minutes to 80%. So I know using this Apple MacBook charger, it's going to take me 41 minutes to get to the 80%. And then I'm like, maybe I just need to leave my phone down for that long just to get enough juice to go on about my day. I don't know about you, but I'm a massive power user. You can see all the apps that use how much battery percentage. You get alerts for the ones that are using more than they typically do. Obviously, we've always had our battery health, but now it just shows charging behaviors, how long it's going to take to those specific percentages, and your typical charging habits. So I use over 100% of charging, and now it's saying at this time, you're using more than you usually do. Another big update is filter calls by SIM for focus filters. So if I have 2 SIM cards on my phone, I can actually decide I want to snooze only for my Verizon SIM card and not my Google Fi SIM card. So I'm a dual SIM user, as you can see on the top left here. And now I can create focus modes blocked by each SIM. Not only that, but I have multiple SIMs. So now when you travel, you can easily manage your SIMs. So iPhone will actually automatically pick your default voice and data line when you're abroad. So I use my Google Fi when I'm traveling, Verizon when I'm locally here, and then I have a third Saley SIM that I'll turn on and use when I'm traveling. And this is like my data SIM when I'm traveling, where Google Fi will be my voice when I'm traveling. And then Verizon is my United States SIM card. So that's a big plus. But there's another big issue is when I traveled, I would turn off my Verizon SIM because I didn't want to use phone calls connection. But then I would lose the phone number from my Verizon on iMessage and FaceTime because I was using a different data SIM, which I'll have Saley linked down below. That's my favorite data provider for eSIMs when you're traveling. So now you can stay connected using your Verizon, whatever your local SIM phone number is for FaceTimes and iMessages. You won't get messed up with group chats because that used to happen. I had a video about it when I traveled to Stockholm, how that was a massive issue. This is huge. I'm so excited about this because now I can turn off my Verizon SIM, turn on my travel SIM, and still maintain iMessage and FaceTime for the phone number that I had registered originally for my local SIM. So I'm very excited to test this out because when my parents travel, they don't want to get charged. We got charged when we were traveling to London and Prague, and they're like, okay, I'll turn off my Verizon SIM, and then we had to make all new group chats with their iCloud email rather than their phone number, and then they weren't getting their iMessages from their original phone number. It became a whole mess, and I was like, this is frustrating. So this is like a small thing, and they didn't really talk about it, but that's a massive upgrade to iMessage, especially for people who travel. There's a ton of other features, but I think these are the most exciting features that impact me as someone who wants to be super productive, someone who loves to travel. Go check it out, try them on. The new iOS 26 will come out in the fall, but the public beta, which isn't perfect, it's a beta, is available now if you want to go ahead and download it. I also have a video on watchOS 26. If you want to go watch that, it'll be linked right here. Subscribe, turn notifications, follow me on all the socials at Shervin Shares. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.